Okay, good evening, students. Sorry for the delay. Starting now, we want to discuss the question from question number 31. So we discuss the paper starting from the question 1 to 30. Now today we discuss from 31 to 50. Now these questions are starting with database management systems. Now, the first question is consider the relational the table is given, which has the employee table. We have the employee ID, NIC, email address, name, and department. So it says that employee ID is selected as a primary key, while NIC, email are also unique, which the following statements are correct. Now, we know that the foreign keys, what are the foreign keys? Remember, one table primary key, one to another table to build the relationship, we call as the foreign key. So therefore, first answer is wrong because NIC and emails are not foreign keys. It will be foreign key if it is in another table. Then the third one is email ID is a super key, but not a candidate keys. No, it is not a super key. NIC is a primary key. No, here they have given the employee ID is a primary key. Because they have mentioned that the employee ID is a primary key. So that is not the answer. Department is a candidate keys. No, that is also not correct. So remember here the answer is NIS and the email addresses are candidate keys. That means the possible primary key. In a table, the possible primary keys are we call as candidate keys. Therefore, here NIC and email are basically candidate keys, the possible primary keys. So the answer is B. Then question number 32, consider the table. So we have the employee table, employee ID, employee name, department name. Where the primary key is employee ID, and it is known that department ID determines the department name. Which type of dependency exists here? Now here, now we have discussed about this partial dependency and transitive dependency. Remember, to have the partial dependency, always there must be a composite primary key. Now, in this one, there is no composite primary key. Composite primary key means we can build the primary key using two or more columns together. Now, to have the partial dependency, always composite primary key should be available. Therefore, remember in this occasion, there is no partial dependency. Why? There is no composite primary key. So in this one, actually, what happened, they have mentioned department ID determine the department name. So that means this has a transitive dependency. But that is a transitive dependency. From the employee ID, you can find the department ID. From the department ID, you can find the department name. So if you have such relationships, we call that as a transitive dependency. Because from the employee ID, you can find the department ID. From the department ID, you can find the department name. So whenever we have the relationship like A implies B, B implies C, then we call it has a transitive dependency. Therefore, this question answer is it has a transitive dependency. Is it clear? Any question? Do you need to explain it further? Okay, right. Then the next question number 33, consider the relations. So, okay, right, thanks. Now, question number 33, we have the employee table. We have the employee ID, employee name, department ID, department location. Where primary key is employee ID. It is known that department ID implies department and department location, which decomposition will achieve the third normal form. Now remember, this table is the second normal form. Why? Because to violate the second normal form, there should be a partial dependency. So this employee table, there is no partial dependency. Why there is no partial dependency? There is no composite primary key. Composite primary key means primary key should be built using two or more columns. Therefore, this table does not have partial dependency. Therefore, this one is in the second normal form. But this one has a transitive dependency. What is transitive dependency? From the employee ID, now as given here, remember from this employee ID, remember employee ID is a primary key. From this employee ID, you can find the department ID. From the department ID, you can find the department name and others. So this is we call as a transitive dependency. From the A, you can find the B. From the B, you can find the C. Now, from the employee ID, you can find the department ID. From the department ID, you can find the department name. So this is a transitive dependency. So that means you have to remove the transitive dependency. So how do you remove the transitive dependency? You have to separate this into two or more tables. Then you can have a employee table separately, department table separately. In the department table, it says that the department number and department locations can be implies from the department ID. So in the department table, you can have the department name and the department location. So in the department table, definitely you should have, now this one doesn't have department table, so that is wrong. This one has only department name, that is wrong. This one has only department location, that is also wrong. So it should be the first one. That is, you can have separate table for the department ID, department location, and you can take the department as a foreign key. Now to build the relation between the table, you can have the foreign key as a department ID here. So therefore, the answer is C. So, then the next question. A developer execute the following command: create table course. Now this is how you can create a table. That's a SQL command. Create table course. Course ID is the integer and it's the primary key. Course name is Vacha, which is 50 characters. And credit is the integer. And close it. Which category of the SQL command does this belongs to? Now remember in SQL, we have basically mainly the two of the command, two types of commands mainly. One is actually DDL, data definition language. So under that, remember we can have the commands like create table, like we can have the create command and the drop and alter and rename. Like these commands are, remember those are what we call DDL, data definition. That is to create the table or create the database or to drop the table or drop the database or alter the table where you can modify the contents table, rename. Like those are actually DDL, data manipulation, data definition. And then you have the categories called data manipulation, DML. So under that, basically have the select command, select, insert to insert the data, delete to delete the data, update to update the data. Now these are the basic DML. So therefore, these are the two types of commands that can be there in SQL. So therefore, this one is a create command. So you can see create command is actually data definition language, RCSP. Then question 35, consider the following tables. Now we have the student table and the class table. So the student table has the student ID, name, age, grade, and the class ID. Class table has the class ID, class name, and the teacher ID. Which SQL command display the name of the students older than 17? So then you can see it should be the select command. Select what are things to select actually. So we have to select the names because they are asking to display the names. Select names. Therefore, it should be names. Therefore, put this one wrong. Select name. So these are wrong actually. That should be select. Select the names. Select from what table? Student table. Where the condition? Students older than 17. That means larger than 17. This one. So the answer is this. Select name from the table students where the age is larger than 17. So answer is C. Then next one, you want to add the new column email to the existing table employee. Which command is correct? Now we want to add a column actually. That is basically alter. Alter table. Table name is employee. So alter table name employee. And then question number 34. Yeah, 34 actually answer is 34 is that is create. Create is a data definition. Remember create, alter, drop, rename. Those are data definition. But insert, select, delete, update. Those commands are data manipulations. So therefore 34 answer is data definition B. 35 answer is C. Then 36, remember, we want to modify the table. Remember to modify the table, it's a data definition. That means we are going to change the table structure. We won't add a column. In that case, alter table. Employee, add employee. Email, vacha. So therefore, answer is A. First one. This one. Alter table. Then question number 37, you have a table students ID, name, age. Which command currently adds a primary key on the student's ID. Now we won't have the primary key. So adding the primary key also, remember it's a kind of modification to the existing table. In that case, should be data definition one. Actually, it should be alter table. Alter table student. All table students add primary key. Add primary key first one. Alter table. Table name is students. Add primary key. Primary key is student's ID. Is it clear? Okay, then the question number 38. Now, this is basically with the Python. So you want to see how to calculate this one actually. Now, how do you calculate this? It's a real-time operator. Now, let's see how to calculate this. Now, this question is basically bitwise operation. So, how do you make the calculation? Now, we are given in the bitwise operators, this is actually AND operation with the brackets. So, brackets should be completed first. So, here we have A and B. It is in the bracket. Therefore, you need to complete the brackets. Remember, if the bracket is not there, we consider the mathematical operators as high priority. Since here there's a bracket, we want to complete A and B. A and B. So therefore, we want to first complete the AND operation, A and B. This is what we need to complete first. That is because of this one has the high priority, the bracket has high priority. Now this is a bitwise AND operation. Now 5 means 101. Okay, 5 means 101. Because 4 bits they have given, and 3 means 0011. If you want, you can just divide by 2, get the answer. So what we are going to do here is actually AND operation. AND operation means basically truth table of the AND. We know truth table in the AND, 1 or 1 means 1 and 1 means 1. 0 and 0 and 0. Therefore, this is 1. So this part is equal to 1. Then we have the class C is how much? 2. 2 into 2. Then you get 1 plus 2 into 2 is 4. So it should be 5. So the answer is 5. Is that clear? Is it correct? How to calculate that bitwise operators? Next one. Now the next question, what will be printed by the following program? Now here there is a list. How does it work actually? There's a for loop. It goes from for I in range of the length of the first. That means it is running in the range function. So what it does, you need to understand the purpose of this program. Now this range function go to the length of the first. That means length of this one is 4. Now then length function will return the 4. That is range 4. Range 4. Remember, range 4 means, so this will return the range, this will be 4, because that is the length of the array or list. That is length is 4. Range 4 means this will return the value 0, 1, 2, and 3. So here variable is I in. Therefore, initially I equals to how much? 0. Put I equals 0. Then I equals 1, I equals 2, I equals 3. Now it gets each value and check the condition. That is, you take each value from the array and divide by 2. Divide by 2. And this operator, this modulus, this operator is actually remainder. That will be the remainder. So it takes each number divided by 2. First number is 3. And divide by 2, remainder is 1. So that is true. So basically, this program, what it does, once the array number is divided by 2, the remainder is 1. Remainder is 1 means odd numbers. If it is odd numbers, it will be incremented. So therefore, here S is start by 0 and 3, 5, 7, 9 means all are odd numbers. Therefore, S is incremented 4 times. So finally, S should be equal to how much? 4. Is that clear? The way it works. So now actually what it does now, this for loop, it takes each number because now what they have given is here they have given this for loop for I in range. I in range, and then that is getting the length function, LDN. LDN array name. So that basically comes the length. So length of the array is 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, this will be 4. Range 4. Then this range 4 function returns what values? Range 4 means it returns the value 0, 1, 2, 3, but not 4. So initially, I is equal to how much? 0. Initially, I equal to 0. Then what do you do? We take this condition if. So what do you do? We check with the array name. We check with the array name. Initially I equal to how much? 0. Now you take the first number. First number is equal to how much? 3. And you divide this one by 2. So when the 3 divided by 2, remaining is 1. Condition is true. Condition is true means this will be increment. Then it goes to the next value of time. Next value of time equals 1. That means take the next number. Next number is 5. 5 divided by 2 remaining is 1. Then our also it will be incremented. So then S is actually initially 0. In first time S will be incremented, then S becomes 1 here. Next time you take the value of 5 and 5 divided by 2 remaining is 1. Then S will be incremented by 1, S will be 2. Like that you can see all 4 numbers is S equal S plus 1 will be incremented. Then finally S becomes how much? 4. So that will basically count how many of them are odd numbers in the array. So then you can see all 4 numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, all 4 are odd numbers. So the answer is 4. Is it clear? The way we should calculate it? Okay. Then the next question, that is also kind of function. Remember, there's a small error in this function. Everything in the function should be shifted inside. So I think that's the printing error. So we assume after def, the rest of the lines should be with the indentations. Because we know that when you are writing a function in Python, remember when you are writing a function in Python, we use the keyword def. Def is for the function. Def. And you can give the function name. Function name. And within bracket, we have the variable s and the colon. This is syntax of the function. Can use the keyword def, function name, what are the function parameter of all function arguments, and the colon. And then remember, when you write the rest of the line, we should not start here. We should write with the indentation. We should start somewhere here. So therefore, in this one, actually, it's a printing error. So this should start something like this. Result somewhere here you write. Otherwise, it is not correct. Result initialized to empty. Then the for loop for I in range. I in range. And it's and the colon. That's the syntax for the for loop. If I divide by 2, I remainder is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, colon. If you state more colon, then you increment the result. Then you can increment the result with arrays. And that's a very return value of this function. The function will return result into result return. Now this is the function. Okay. And then here we call the function with this print function. And we are passing this parameter computer. So then basically here we call the function. We are calling the function like here. And this parameter computer will be equal to S. Then basically S means this word computer. And this is S means that. Okay. So then what happens? This function, what it does, it goes from for I range. So length S should be length and S. Now length of this. Now you can see length of this is here we have how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means this one is range 8. This will be equal to range 8. Range 8. Range 8 means this will produce the value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not 8. Initially, I will be equal to how much? 0. Then what happens? You take the first value and divide by 2. Divide by 2. So it is the first value. And then divide by 2 if it is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, what happens? It will be added to this one. That means now take the first value is 0. 0 divided by 2, 0 is equal to 0. That means first element is added to the result. That means C will be added. Next value I equals how much? 1. Then 1 divided by 2 remainder is not 0. That means second value will not be added. Then with the next value I is equal to 3. So I equals to 2. Next value I equals to 2. I equals 2 means 2 divided by 2. Remainder is equal to 0. This is true. That means 2 will be added. That means N. So basically it will add C, N, but not P, and then U, but not T, and then E. So basically it will add C, N, U, U, E actually. C, N, U, E. Yeah, C, T. Is that clear? Is it okay? Right, fine. Then we go to the next question. Now, this one is actually regarding this function again. This one also regarding the function. Now, so what are things you should know regarding this function? Now, here we have x equal 4. And this is a function definition there. Function, that's a function name A. And the colon, that's a syntax. And you create the variable global. I'll explain what is this global means. global x and x equal x plus 3. So a plus 6. A plus 6. And return x. So that's the function. Here we call the function. We call the function with parameter 3 and print x will be. Now remember, when you take this function, so always start by now this is the function definition and this is the function we have. So remember all the variables inside this function we call as a local variable. All the variables inside the function we call as a local variable. Remember these local variables are not visible outside the function. They are not visible actually. Now in here if you write print A, it gives an error. But inside the function, A is visible, but outside the function A is not visible. And therefore, all the variable inside the function we call as a local variable. But the things you write like this one is a global variable. It is visible in everywhere. Everywhere. Now remember, when you make this word global, this x and the x outside both are same. But remember, if you don't put this word global, the x inside the function and x outside the function are two different things. They are not equal. They are not equal. Just remember to equalize this x, global outside x and this inside x, you want to equalize both are same. So in that case, we assume Vx here, that is same thing. But remember, if you don't put this word global, the x outside the function, x inside the function are two different variables, even their names are same. That's the thing you remember. But in this case, it is equal. Now here initially x equal 4. X equal 4. So then we call the function here, by name. And this is a parameter 3. Then you can see this A becomes how much? 3. Because we pass the function 3, therefore A will be equal to 3. Then what happens? You write global x. That means it is mapping to the same x here. But currently x equal 4. X equal 4. Then what happened here? You write x equal a plus x. A is equal to 3. X means this x, that is 4. Then 3 plus 4, 7. In that case, this x will be updated to 7. You can see the update x. So therefore, remember x equal a plus x, that is 7. That is 7. So therefore, in this case, return value x is 7, that will be written here. Therefore, here return print 7. Now the x is updated. Remember this x is updated. X is not now 4 actually. X is updated 7. Now when you say print x, that also will be 7. Therefore, answer should be 7 and 7. First one. Is it clear? Are you okay? Okay, good. Then we go to the 42. Now 42 is actually, there's a file. There's a file. Inside this file, number.txt file, we have the numbers 2468. These values are there inside this file. Now, what is this code actually? This is a file operation code in the Python. So we open the file number.txt for reading R. Remember here R means we are opening this file for reading. So we open this file number.txt. It is for opening for reading. And then we have a variable count equals 0. And there's a for loop. So what is done by this for loop? For loop will take each line from the function. Now remember, now here we open a file. We are opening a file. The open file is identified by the variable f. So here we open the file given name. You can see here there's a file name, numbers, text. And we are opening this file for txt file. We are opening this file for reading. We are opening file for reading. Okay, we are opening this file for reading. And there's a variable count, which is equal to 0. For line in F. So this is actually what you do. We take each line from the F. F means this file we have opened. Remember, this F means the file we have opened, this one. So that identify this file which is open. So then what you do, you take each line from the file. Now this file has lines 2, 4, 6, 8. These are the lines inside the file. So it takes each line. This first line, the second line, third line, fourth line. It takes each line. So therefore this line means it takes each line from this file. So then what it does, it just check whether if integer, we convert it to integer this line value, to take each line value and convert it to integer, and then divide by 4. Divide by 4. And check whether it is 0. That means it takes each number and divide by 4 and find out whether it is divisible by 4. If it is divisible by 4, count it will incremental. Then you can see first number is not divisible by 4, but 4 is divisible by 4. 6 is not divisible by 4, 8 is divisible by 4. Therefore, there are two numbers you can divide by 4. So therefore, the answer is 4 and 8. Answer is 4 and 8. These are divided. These are when you divide by 4, it is answer is equal to 0, because this modulus operator will do the remainder. So then when the number divided by 4, if the remainder is 0. Now number will be divided by 0, remainder is 0 only for 4 and 8. Therefore, there are two numbers. That means the count should be equal to. Count should be equal to. Is it clear? Answer should be count is equal to. Is that clear, the answer for that 42? Okay. Then 43, in HTML, which attribute is used to provide alternative text for the image? If the image cannot be displayed, I think it's very easy. Then alternative is given by ALT. So image tag, then this image tag is a tag which doesn't have an ending tags. Then image tag, HR tag, and BR tag, and input tags. Remember, these tags doesn't have ending tags. But normally other tags have the starting tag and ending tags. But for this image tag, HR, BR, input, remember they don't have ending tags. So image tag is SRC. SRC is the file name. And you can define the width and the height. In addition, you have the ALT, alternative. Alternative means if the image is unable to display, you can put a name, the name will be displayed. That is called as ALT. So the answer is ALT. 43 answer is C. Answer is C. Okay. Any questions you have? Okay, then next question. Question number 44. Now, this is actually regarding the CSS. If you look at that question, I just share the question again. Now, in this question, remember, we have the style sheets. The style sheets. Now in this one, we have a inline style. This one. Sorry, we have the style. One is these actually what we call the internal style. Internal style. So here there is a style tag. Under the head section, you define the style tag. Now this says that all the paragraphs color should be blue color. But with the dots, we are defining actually specific places where you want to have that color, you can use it. Not every places. But when you use this like this one, all the paragraph, whenever you use a paragraph text inside your code, inside the page, all the paragraphs will be blue color. But here we are specifying with the dot operator, that is the class, we define a specific class. Whenever you use that one by the name, it will be red color. So in this one actually paragraph, I am using that class. Since I'm using this class, I'm calling to this class, because I'm calling to this class, what happened, this color would be red color. So then remember, answer is red color. Because I am using that paragraph by calling the specific class. The class will start with by dot here, this one. And we call the class by name. Is that okay? So then the next question, so the next question is actually consider the following HTML code. Now remember in the HTML form, we have action and the method. Now remember this method, it can be either post or it can be get method. The difference is actually normally post method is good. Why? Because it doesn't have the issue with that confidential information. Sorry, now because when you are using this confidential information like username, password, when you use a post method, it won't be appear on the URL. But remember, if you use a get method here, others can see username and password through the URL. That's the issue. Therefore, normally use a post method, not the get method. But when you use a get method, you can add the bookmarking to the page. But when you use a post method, you can't do the bookmarking. And what is action? Remember, action means whenever you click the submit button, it says that the file defined in here should be executed. That's the meaning of action. So that says what action to be taken when you click the submit button. When you click the submit button, it says execute this function name as submit.php. That's the meaning you should know regarding this action and the method. Now you're asking what is correct. The form will submit even if the username contains numbers. Now in this one, actually it says the required field. So that means this is a required field. Input name. Input is input text field. Yeah, you are going to input the name that says a required. Required means it can be empty. It can be empty. The pattern is actually you have to use either capital A to Z or simple A to Z. Can be used for the username. And the minimum should be 5, maximum should be 10. That's the meaning here, 5 to 10. So then it says that form will submit even if the username contains numbers. No, because you can't have the numbers. It says that it should be either A to Z capital or it is simple. The form will not be submit if the username is empty. Yes, form will not be submit if the username empty because you say required. It cannot be empty. Therefore, second one is true. If you look at third one, the pattern attributes validate the input after the submission. No, pattern attribute will validate whether it is A to Z capital or it is simple or minimum number of characters 5, maximum should be 10. That will be tested. Required allows the input to be empty. No, required means it can't be empty. Pattern only works with the text area. No, it's work with normal text also. So the answer is B. Is that clear? Then the question number 46. Consider the following PHP code to find the answer. So now the next question, it is actually PHP code. Now we start the PHP code with question marks PHP ended by question marks. This is how you start and end the PHP code. Now this one is actually an array. The array advantage is you can have many values by say one name. Now here all these values can be added by data. Name is data. One name, but many values can be there in the memory. So that is the advantage of the array. Now this says that for each you can take the value from this variable data. That means you can take each value from this array and assign them as S value. That means initially value is equal to 1, then the value equal to 2, then value equal to 3. That's for each loop is working. Then you check whether it is equal to. If it is equal to, continue. Remember, the purpose of the word continue. When you use this word continue, what happened? The loop next value will be continued. Next value will be continued. But the rest of the lines will not be executed. So in this case, when the value is equal to 1, 1 is not equal to 2. So therefore it comes here print 1. So initially it prints 1. When it is 2, 2 equal to 2 means continue. Then you say continue. Then you continue when it is 2. Then it is 3. 3 is not equal to 2. Then you come here, print this. Then it should be answer is 1 and 3. This one. This is 1 and 2. Then question number 47. Which of the following best describe internet theme IoT? Remember, IoT idea is that you can access to any resources through internet. As you know, nowadays you can switch on and switch on and off can be done through a mobile phone, your home things actually. And you can see when you're outside, you can view your CCTV system through the mobile phone. Like you can do many things through the internet. That is what we call the Internet of Things. Yeah, you can do not only one thing, the many things you can do through the internet. So then here the idea of internet to IoT, a network where only computers are connected and exchange data. No, systems where the physical objects are connected to the internet to collect and exchange data automatically. Yes, then any website access through a web browser. No, a cloud platform for storing files. Only no. A network of servers that transmit emails. So it's no. Answer is second one. A systems where physical objects are connected to the internet to collect and exchange data automatically. Answer is B. Then we come to the 48. Which of the following is example for machine learning or some field of AI? So machine learning is actually, we can use some data sets. With that, you can train the machines. Once you train the machine, you can input another data sets and you can check whether it has a patterns which was given previously. Based on the training, it can tell you whether this pattern is there or not actually. So then what is this? A program that performs calculation using predefined formula only. No. A system that improves its performance by learning from the data without being extremely programmed. That is correct. Now, in machine learning, we are not going to program, we are not predefine the actions. The machine can learn itself using the previous data. And then you can make some predictions. As an example, nowadays you know that weather forecasting is very accurate. How? Because the data sets analysis, where you can use the machine learning techniques and you can make the very accurate predictions by looking at some patterns with the available data. So we can use some historical data, you can train the machine and you can find a pattern. Once you find the pattern, you can make many predictions. That is why nowadays you can see if the weather forecasting says tomorrow you're going to have rain, definitely you have rain. But early days not like that actually. Early it was totally different. Now it has improved because of the machine learning techniques. Where that is working with the data sets. You take some data set and you train it. As an example, let's say we have some diseases spreading on the plant. What you can do is you can take some leaves of the plant and you can train the machine to identify the disease. And whenever you identify or train the machine, whenever you input a new leaves of the plant, you can determine whether it is affected by the disease or not. Like you can train the machine and then it can easily find the patterns. So here the answer is B. Then 49, why can quantum computers potentially solve certain problems faster than the classical problem? Now the reason is actually in quantum computing, they are using the techniques called as the qubits. And again, they are saying that in normal computer use the 2 bits, 0 and 1. But here they introduce the qubits, which is actually working with a concept of what we call the super state. Now in the computer, in the binary system, we have the 2 states, 1 and 0. But in the quantum computing, they introduce a concept called super state. Once it is go to super state, it can do many things which cannot be done in the normal state. Now, as you know, sometimes the people can do many things once they do a concentration of the mind using the meditation. So then we assume once you've done the meditation, people can go to super state. And then through that, they can do something which cannot be done by the others very faster. So that's the same concept here actually. In quantum computing, they are defined super state where we assume with the super state, you can do very large complex mathematical calculation within a few seconds. So it's a drastically faster than the normal computers. So therefore here the answer is quantum computers use faster electric circuits? No. Quantum computers have unlimited memory? No. Quantum computers can process many possible states simultaneously using the superposition. Yeah, that's what superposition. So quantum computer, we assume that superposition, once it is super state or superposition, it can do something which cannot be done by the normal computers. In that case, it can process billions of transactions within very faster, very few seconds. So the answer is C. So the last question, which computing techniques is inspired by the process of natural selection and evolution? So basically, we have this genetic algorithm. Where this genetic algorithm is a concept of evolution. The Charles Darwin evolution concept is there actually. That is, in the genetic computing idea is genetic algorithm idea is that they take some random population. From that, they assume once they are doing the good thing, their assumption actually this genetic algorithm is evolutionary concept. Assumption is when they take one generation with human, those who are doing the good thing will come back. Those who are going to the bad thing will go back. They don't come. So here the idea is that time to time generations, we are going to take the good people who are there. With that, you can generate another new generation that is much better than the previous one. Like this will go in several cycles until you find the very good answer. Therefore, genetic algorithms can be used to solve a problem which has many solutions. But with the genetic algorithm, you can find out what's the best solution, optimal solution you can find. That's genetic algorithm. The second one is neural network idea is that is actually nature-inspired computing, or we call it as a bio-inspired computing. That is the idea of the nature-inspired computing or bio-inspired computing is when people are developing the new systems, they study the biological systems. Like we know when the people are going to develop the aeroplanes, they have studied how the birds are flying. Similarly, people want to have the AI, artificial intelligence. For that, what they did was they have studied how our brains are working with the neurons. So therefore, people want to do the same thing in the computers. So where we want to map the human brain into the systems, because they were thinking people can do some meaningful decision based on the brain. So therefore, they study the brain and then develop the system called as by taking the neurons, they develop a system called as a neural networks. So then they assume, just like our brain, neural network also do the same thing. That's the same concept in our neurons, in our brains. That's a neural network. Then the cloud computing is actually the idea of getting all the services through internet. In cloud computing, the concept is all resources are in the internet. All the software, all the hardware, database management systems, all the servers, everything in the internet. That's one key concept, the cloud, where you can access to the resource from anywhere at any time because your data is in the cloud. Other thing is the cloud, you should remember, we are not going to buy the resources, but you're going to hire the resources. When you hire the resources, remember, cost is very low and you don't get many maintenance problems actually. This is similar to, let's say I want to go from Colombo to Kandy. In that case, there are two options. One option is I can buy a car by spending millions of rupees. I can buy the car, and then I can go to the Kandy. But the thing is, if I am going to buy my own car, I have to spend millions of rupees. And once I buy a car, I have a lot of responsibilities. I have to think about the insurance policy, revenue license, accident, whatever the damages, like everything, all responsibilities come to you. But if I want to go Candy, I don't need to buy a car, but I can hire the vehicle. But remember, when you hire the vehicle, you have to pay less amount. No, you don't need to pay millions of rupees. Not like you are buying a car. And again, you don't get the responsibility. You don't need to think about the revenue license, registration, accident repair, nothing. So the same concept is in the cloud. That is, we can use what is the available resources uh, through the internet, and we are going to hire the resources without buying the resources. Therefore, cost is very low and less responsibilities. The data mining means once you take very large amount of data, like the data which are moving through the Facebook or data which is moving through the WhatsApp, terabytes of data will move in per second actually. And once you collect this data by using some algorithms, you can mine this data and extract some useful information. That is we call data mining. Then quantum computing is one I have just explained to you. It's a kind of a specific area where they introduce the concept of not the two states. Now in our computer, the two states, binary 1 and 0. But here they are indicating the state called a super state. Then actually what happened with this super state, we can assume it can do something which is not possible in the normal state. Like I mentioned to you, the super state is actually like people can go to super state by doing the meditation and then they can do something which cannot be done in the normal state. The same concept is there in the cloud computing. With that, actually, people can do, computer can do something which cannot be done by the normal computers. So those are the answers for the first part actually. So what you should do is now next week before the class, I will share the part 2, structured essay and essay type paper. Please initiate that work and do complete. I will discuss that paper on the next week class. Without wasting your time, please complete that papers and study and come. Then you can easily learn the things. And again, I plan to start the revision class also. I will just let you know to revise this content again and do the paper discussion at the same time. So, any questions you have? Okay, if there are no questions, I will stop the today class and I will share the next paper. Please complete it and come to the next class to discuss the answers. Thank you for joining for today's class. Okay, thank you.